Hi, everybody. We are up for another great subject here with a short attention span webinar series. Kelly, today we're going to talk about LinkedIn from the sales rep's standpoint and how a rep can use LinkedIn. And I know you're LinkedIn, and you've linked in with a lot of our customers. And today we'll talk about some different ways that a rep can benefit. I don't think people really have embraced this as well as they should have. The first one is, quite simply, Kelly, is to get LinkedIn. So let's talk about the basics. Where do we start?
Well, yeah, obviously it's with getting a profile set up, making sure everything's accurate, making sure all of your educational background and linking up with, former college colleagues and things like that, all of your company information. So this goes for both you as an individual and for your company. Bigger companies, or actually all size companies, have or can have LinkedIn pages of their own. So I'm definitely pretty evangelical about LinkedIn. I believe it's an extremely valuable resource, but it's also one of those, I call it like the business karma, where you get out of it what you put into it. So I'm on it every single day without question. It's a very, very unique and very valuable place to spend some time.
The homepage is your homepage, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what Kelly was talking about with your background, your history. You can put your personal philosophy in there, your interests, any books you want to read, you make recommendations. But Kelly, did you know you can add a video to your homepage?
I did not.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, you can have something. You can create something which is not that difficult, and you can have a 2 or 3 minute, whatever you want, video just on you talking into your camera. It can be something that maybe a promo video that your company put together, whatever. But you can have something right there that somebody can click on. I only recently discovered that this is an option. LinkedIn actually has tutorials, gang, on how to put together an effective and powerful homepage, and we recommend that you start there. Next up, you set a weekly goal. This is, personally, I do this. Is this something you do, Kelly?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so weekly goal for what?
Well, number one, I try to limit the amount of time I spend on there because I don't want to, look up at the clock and realize I've been on there for 2 hours. But I do like to try to increase the number of contacts that I have every week, somewhere between, 5 and 10 new people every week. And luckily, with our blog and everything that we do, I get more requests now, so I don't have to kind of proactively go out there and look for new contacts. People are actually requesting to connect with me. But not only, I like what you say here about asking for an appointment, because it's always nice to say, hey, you're in Chicago, I'm in Chicago, let's, meet up at a Panera and have a face-to-face meeting, or a 10-minute kind of what can we do for each other kind of conversation with people. It's a way to make this kind of a little more personal and make it a little more meaningful, I think.
And you and I were talking earlier before we got on the air here, about having daily activities, setting up a calendar. This is something that you could put in that calendar.
Yeah.
I know on my Macintosh I use iCal, and I can set up a to-do function or a reminder, and I can get an email at whatever time. So I can have a 7 o'clock email come in that says, hey, Bill, don't forget to invite 10 people to be LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I started this, about 3 weeks ago. I started building my LinkedIn network, and I was at about a little over 500. Now I'm over 1,200.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Amazing. I actually hired someone to help me to expand the network. Just a college kid that was looking for some extra income, and sent out all of these links. And now I've got a much more robust network to benefit from, and I really have benefited from. It's been amazing what the instant payoff has been. So set that weekly goal. I'm going to ask 5 people a week, 10 people a week, whatever. You just send out that request. You can put in the subject matter, you can put prints or labels or packaging or whatever you're selling, and see what comes up, and then ask away. Then there's research. Kelly, what are we looking for in research here?
Well, again, it's giving us something of value to, to kind of open the door as we make a phone call, as we leave a voicemail, as we send emails to folks, is to, again, try to personalize a little bit, try to differentiate ourselves. So when you actually find the prospect that you're trying to call on, let's say I want to call on Allstate Insurance, and so you look that up and you find out that there's 5 people in your network. You find out who they are, what their roles and responsibilities are, what their title is, where they worked before, where they went to school. You can use all of that in, kind of a non-stalker-ish kind of way. You kind of put that all in the back of your mind to be able to, again, make reference to things that are relevant to them, that are important to them, that connect and make you sound different than just, hey, I want to talk to you about your printing. So
that word is key. That's the key. Different, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're going to pick something up, and then you can use it in a voicemail. You can use it in a sales call. What does that say to the prospect?
I did my homework.
Yeah.
I'm paying attention. I'm more than just, this is my price on 1,000 postcards. So it really, really reinforces the point before, though, that the bigger your network is, the more people you're connected to, the more of those kind of second-generation connections you can get to. So it makes your research that much easier when your network is bigger, because it just exponentially grows, because all the people you know, all the people they know. And it isn't until you get to the third-degree connections that you can't get the last names until you pay your $100 a month or whatever it is. So the more people you connect with, the more information you have immediate access to.
I love that former employees thing. The people will list in their resume, and if you do a search on a company, the former employees, an email, an in-message or something to that person to say, hey, I'm making a sales call on your former employer. Can you help me with any names, any information? Well, there's gold in them modules.
Mm-hmm.
That's killer. Then there's recommendations. You can ask up to 50 people at a time to write you a recommendation. These things are gold. It's like walking down the aisle of a Blockbuster, if you can still find one, picking up a DVD, flipping it over, and reading the reviews. Well, somebody's going to hire Kelly Malozy to do some training for them. And they say, I don't really know Kelly. I've read a blog and a little bit about her. Bill thinks she's fantastic. I don't know. I'm going to go look her up on LinkedIn. And there you'll find glowing reviews of Kelly's professionalism, her communication skills, her enthusiasm, motivation. That speaks volumes. I don't know about you, but I think that things like Yelp are phenomenal tools. And basically that's just a recommendation list.
Oh, everybody needs that kind of reinforcement and that built-in credibility to make decisions today, because it's there. And if it isn't there about you, it's there about somebody else. So yeah, one thing to remember, folks, too, is that people want to help you. So if you do send out that message, could you just spend 5 minutes and, write me a recommendation? People that like you want to help you, and they will do it. So wouldn't it be better to have 20 recommendations on your LinkedIn page than 2? And also, again, in the line of the karmic social media world, write recommendations for people every time someone asks you. Come up with something nice to say about somebody else. Even do it proactively and volunteer to do it about your colleagues, about people in the industry, and say nice things about other people, and that will come back to you. It's worth it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the unsolicited part is great. When you write something like that, they will respond. It's LinkedIn etiquette. And then finally, be a joiner. Join the groups, join the discussion groups. Even if you opt in, opt out of these things, but they will send you weekly summaries. And then contribute, pose a question, throw something out there. And not only for your industry, but your customer's industry as well. Kelly, again, I'll let you continue your thought. Why would you do this? What's the value?
Well, I was just thinking about, there's a woman down in Texas named Mary Beth Smith who has started a lot of these LinkedIn groups. She does Girls Who Print and Sales Chicks. I've never met this woman, but I honestly consider her a friend. I think I've spoken to her on the phone twice, and I met her on LinkedIn. And she always comments on my blogs. She sends people my way if they're in Chicago. It is a meaningful relationship, and I met her through these LinkedIn groups. And it's and to the next point about your customers group, this again is all about finding out what is on the minds of your customers. What are their concerns? What are they talking about? And you might be a little more voyeuristic where this is concerned. You might just observe these kind of groups, and you're getting information that is ammunition for you when you prepare to make sales calls. If you're talking about advertising agencies and you're in these groups kind of looking around and seeing what concerns them, you can then use that to figure out how your offering solves these problems and addresses these issues, and you're paying attention. And it's relatively inexpensive because it's your time. This to me is the sit down first thing in the morning with a cup of coffee before I've made any calls, and I put in my time on LinkedIn, and it's a way to kick off my day.
And here again, Kelly, you put this kind of thing on a calendar, which I have. Put the thing on the calendar. So the calendar sends you something that says, make sure you get on LinkedIn and make some comments, check out some discussions. This is something you should be doing on a regular basis. There are lots of different uses for and benefits of something like this. It's a good, valuable tool, and it's something that you can do not only regularly, but when it's quiet, as we pointed out in the previous webinar. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's it for this subject. Kelly, thank you. Great job as normal.
Thanks. Thanks, Bill.
I got to go because I've got to go write your recommendation.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.